Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gabby and today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Okay, so I have been watching BookTube for years and the mid-year book freakout tag is always one that I want to do, but I never had a BookTube channel to do it, so now I do. There are a few books on here. There's one that is going to repeat. So without further ado, let's start the questions. There's 13 questions. The first question is the best book that you've read in 2020, and that is without a doubt, hands down. There was no competition. I realized I said Crescent City in my last video. I meant House of Earth and Blood, but the series called Crescent City. But we're just gonna call it Crescent City because that's easier. It's Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I absolutely adored this book. I loved it. It was amazing. I love the characters. I love the relationship between the characters. I love Bryce Quinlan. I love so many things about this book, and I cannot wait till the next book comes out. Really can't. I'm gonna probably have to reread this before it comes out, like a couple of times, because I'm gonna be in need of some Sarah J. Maas and some Bryce Quinlan and all of these different characters. I just love this book so much. I love the world. I love the idea of it. I love the characters. There's just the plot. Like, I just love so many things about this book. And if you have not read it, please read it. I will say it is technically adult. It's an adult urban fantasy, but it definitely reads like a young adult book. But it was just so good. So good. So good. The next question is the best sequel that you've read in 2020. And because I didn't want to repeat as many books, I have one, but really my answer to this is probably two books. So the first one is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. That book was so good. It was everything that I wanted in the finale of the trilogy. It was just so good. If I'm going to be being completely honest, I thought The Cruel Prince was okay. I didn't really understand the whole hype around it, but I did like it. The Wicked King was okay. Definitely probably Wicked King is my least favorite of the three. And then Queen of Nothing. Now, I really liked the series in the sense that, like, I liked the overarching elements in the series enough to continue. And I'm so glad that I did, because I ended up giving 5 stars to Queen of Nothing. I absolutely loved it. I did read the physical copy, but my friend Brianna has it right now. So there's that. But I did really, really like it. Like, I liked the way that they tied everything in together. It was just, to me, the perfect ending to the series. And the second one is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This was really good. I loved all the dynamic between the characters. I love following the events of the end of the book, of the end of the first book, how they all kind of reacted to it. And things like that. I also loved the relationships that were developing and that had developed. I really love this series, and it's a really good series, but the ending of this book infuriated me, not because it was a bad ending, but because it left me off on a cliffhanger, and I am so mad that I'm not going to be able to know what the heck happens till like next year. There's not even a release date for the next book yet, and I am so annoyed. Also, I'm also wondering what the cover is, because we've had Aurora, we have Cal. Who's the third one gonna be? Who is the third one gonna be? Probably Tyler. Tyler would make more sense just because he's kind of the front man, but I have no idea. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but isn't that what we're here for? Let's be real. You're here to see me go off on tangents. So the next question is new releases that are released but that I haven't read yet, and there's quite a lot of them that I want to read. There's Song Below Water, Forest of Souls I really want to read, Court of Miracles, Chain of Gold, but Chain of Gold I haven't gotten yet, and I haven't finished reading The Infernal Devices, which I need to do before I read that, but I definitely do want to read that one. There's probably more that I'm definitely missing, but for right now, those are the ones that I'm going to go with and say that those, I know that there's more, and you know what I'll do? I'll put in the description below my full answer to this question, because there's probably too many that I to count. So we'll see. Oh, Bone Crier's Moon is another one. There's a lot. Like I said, I'll put them down in the description below. So the next question is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now, what I'm gonna say is gonna be a bit shocking, but at the same time kind of not. So probably the one that I'm most excited for is actually a contemporary at the moment. I'm going to list some other ones that I am really, really excited for, but this one just kind of spoke to me. So it is A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Now, if you don't know, I am Cuban, so whenever there's a character that is Cuban, it like speaks to me, and I don't find many of them, so it's like a diamond when I do. But this follows a girl who's obviously Cuban. She ends up going to England for something, like on a vacation, or like she goes to a boarding school in England. There was just a lot of things culminating in one book that I was like, that is my book, that is the book I need to read. I need it now. It doesn't come out till October, which is kind of sad, but what can you do? I can try and get an arc of it. That would be really cool, but I don't know. So yeah, that is doing a lot of things with my hands today. So I'm gonna say that one is definitely one. Next are ones that I am really excited for. So Blood and Honey by Shelby Maherin, which is the second book in the Serpent and Dove. I think it's a duology. I'm not 100% if it's a duology, but I think it is. The Dark Tide is another one that I'm really excited for. Cemetery Boys is one that I was not expecting to be excited for, but I am really excited for. The Left-Handed Booksellers of London sounds really, really good. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue sounds really good by B.E. Schwab. Cast in Firelight sounds really good. How the Eye King of Elfheim Learned How to Hate Stories looks really good. The Queen's Counsel, Rebel Rose sounds weird. There's a lot that sound really good. The next book is my most disappointing book so far, and I kind of hate to say that this is my most disappointing read, but I would be lying if I said it was anything else, and that would be Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Now, do not get me wrong, I did like this book. It wasn't that I didn't like it, but I said it in my wrap-up that it was a bit lackluster to me. I was really, like, everybody hypes up this series, everybody says it's so amazing, and I was really expecting to find the same way, just because everybody says that this series is better than The Mortal Instruments, and at the moment I don't really think that's the case. Granted, I still have 2 more books to read, and granted, I did pick up this book and put it down, pick it up, and maybe if I had read it in one fell swoop, I would have enjoyed it much better. But I still gave it 4 stars. Like, I still really enjoyed it. It didn't tip that scale to be like, this is an amazing book. I am planning on reading Clockwork Prince, so hopefully that one will be a better experience, as well as just better overall. But yeah, as sad as it is, that is definitely my answer for that question. Next question is most surprising book of 2020, and this one I don't think it would be a surprise to anybody, the fact that I'm doing a contemporary, because I don't particularly like contemporaries most of the time. I think they're boring. But that would be Nowhere But Here by Katie McGarry. This is a obviously contemporary book, but it follows this girl named Emily. She lives in Florida, and she lives with her mom and her stepdad, who she basically calls her dad. And every year she sees her dad once. Her dad comes down to Florida, she sees him. But when she hears of the passing of her grandmother, who she's never met, her father's mom, her mom insists that they all go to, is it Kentucky? I forget. It's like, I think it's Kentucky. It's either Kentucky or Tennessee. It's one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's Kentucky. But anyway, she goes there, and her father ends up being in a motorcycle club, and she ends up spending the summer there because her mom kind of wants her to get to know her dad. But she is very much like on the fence about it. She doesn't really want to be there, but she ends up being there for the summer, and it's like about her meeting her father, like understanding this whole world that she never knew. Like her mom and her stepfather are very much prim and proper. And what I actually really loved about this story, there's a couple of things, but I liked the story. I find out that I really like the whole dynamic of like the motorcycle clubs. I find them interesting to read about, and I really liked that the stepdad wasn't an asshole, for lack of a better word, because in a lot of these stories I find that there's some parent that like nobody likes, but the parent was extremely he was very much involved in her life, but he wasn't like, well, I raised you, so why are you even going over there? He very much encouraged her to, you know, like, meet her biological father and like find out more about him. So I just really enjoyed that whole dynamic between all of them. And then I also kind of really like, there's a romance in here, and I really liked the romance. It was very much slow burn, and it was hate to love, and it was like, it very much progressed. And I liked all the ideals of this. It was just, I ended up giving this either 5 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 5 stars. I just really liked it. I wasn't really expecting to like it as much as I did, and I think that's why it's the most surprising read. Not because it was amazing. It was just, it shocked me how much I actually liked it. The next question is favorite new author. So my answer to this question is the Lady Janeys, Cynthia Hand, Jodi Meadows, and Brody Ashton. The only book that I've read from them is this book. The books written together are all about Janes during history and like literature. So like they have My Lady Jane, which is following Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen. Then they have My Calamity Jane, which is following Calamity Jane. And then the other book that they have is My Plain Jane, which follows Jane Eyre. And if you're new to my channel, hello, I do not like Jane Eyre. Welcome. I don't like Jane Eyre, so I don't think I'm going to be reading that, and Calamity Jane doesn't interest me, but I really enjoyed the way that they wrote this story, and their very much satirical way of writing it, as well as their very cheesy humor. I really enjoyed that, so that's kind of why they're my new favorite authors. 1, for lack of choices, and 2, I did actually really like the way that they wrote the book, and I liked I just liked their writing and their style, like, and their humor. So that's why this is my favorite new author. The next question is newest fictional crush. And I do crush on characters in the sense that I'm like, I really love a character. Like the character, it's not like I'm like, oh, I want them to be like my boyfriend or whatever. But I haven't, the books that I've read this year, I've noticed I've done a lot of rereadings or continuing of series, so I've already met them, so I can't really consider them newest fictional crush. And the new books that I've read haven't really produced a fictional crush, so for this I'm gonna say I don't really have an answer. The next question is newest favorite character, and for this I have 2. I probably have more than that just because they're all from the same book, but that is the 2 that I'm gonna say are Bryce Quinlan and Danica Fender from Crescent City. I love the fact that they are both unapologetically themselves. Bryce is very much a party girl, very much a smart ass, a smart aleck. Like, she is very her, and she like doesn't care what anybody else thinks, and I really appreciate that. And as well as Danica. Danica is definitely someone who doesn't really care what anybody else thinks, but she's also very protective of her friends, and she's very she's really a loving person, and so is Bryce, and I just really love their friendship as well. But yeah, they're just some of my new favorite characters. Like, I just love them. Obviously, I wouldn't be saying that they're my new favorite characters, but they are. I absolutely love them, and I think they are just great. I really like them. I don't know how else to say that other than the fact that I just really like them. I like the way that they're portrayed, specifically the way that they're portrayed, because you know, Sarah could have very much made it that she was the party girl at the very beginning of the book, and while she's not as much of a party girl like as the book goes on because of certain circumstances, she still very much has her personality of being a smart aleck and not really caring what anybody else thinks, and it could have very much been that Sarah wrote her as a party girl and like not caring what anybody else thinks, and then her completely evolving into a shell because of the events that happened. And I'm really happy that she didn't do that, because I feel like it would have ruined her character. So I really love her character. I think she's a badass, and I just love the fact she's unapologetically herself. The only way that I really can describe it in coherent terms that make, like, to me actually make sense and like is that she's unapologetically herself, and that is what I love about her, because that encompasses everything about her, as well as Danica. And the next I'm just gonna keep the book here because the next question is, what book made you cry? Need I say more? I said it in my wrap up. The last 200 pages of this book, I was bawling. And this is another one that I finished at 2 a.m. It was like from midnight or maybe like 11 till 2 a.m. I'm just sitting there crying with my head in my hands. I'm on my bed, like my hair is a mess, I'm a mess, my face is red, I got tears streaming down my face. And you know, like that point when you're crying so much that your eyes get super blurry and you can't see? I got to that point and I was like, no, stop it. You need to continue reading. You need to find out what the hell is gonna happen. And I kept having to like wipe my eyes. I had to go to the bathroom a couple of times to like get tissues, come back, collect myself. And every time I did it, I said, maybe that's it. That's when I'm done crying. And then like 20 pages would go by and I'm crying again. This ending of this book destroyed me. I couldn't fathom the ending of this book. Thinking about it makes me sad. But it was such a good book. Like, the way that she wrote it was super effective because it did make me cry. Like, she had built up all... it's giving things away. But she just made me cry so much in the book. And I wish that I had been, like, still filming and stuff at that time, because if I would have done a vlog for this and you would have seen me crying for the last 200 pages and being like, oh my god, what the freak is happening right now? So the next question is a book that make you happy, and that is definitely Eat and Love Yourself by Sweeney Boo. Like I said, I also talked about this in my wrap up, but this book just made me happy. Like, the body positivity aspect of which is basically the entire book was so powerful, and it just made me happy because I mean it wouldn't be a body positivity book if she didn't finally accept herself and love herself, but it just made me happy that I could see a character who was plus size and was dealing with things like that kind of come to terms and be like, I'm great the way I am and I don't need to change anything. So I really appreciated that, because so many people feel that way, and I think we need more books out there that promote that, because regardless of who you are, everybody at some point feels like they're not good enough, and sometimes you just need somebody to relate to, and in this case, or a book to relate to kind of reinforce in your head that I am okay, I know, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's a book that everybody should read because of its body positivity and the way that it portrays it. I think it's really, really good. So the next question is most beautiful book you've bought or received, and that is hands down, without a doubt, Aurora Burning by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I am a sucker for a Charlie Bowater cover. Let's put that right out there. There are so many books that are getting Charlie Bowater covers, and it's amazing because they're amazing. And not only is this a Charlie Bowater cover, but it has my favorite character on the front, so it was just a no-brainer. That's all I'm gonna say, because, I mean, come on, look at him. Cal, he's great. And the cover is gorgeous. Love the fire. It's just great. I love it. And now we have the last question. The last question is books that you want to read before the end of the year. And if I'm being honest, there's way too many. At the moment, I know I want to finish the Infernal Devices trilogy by the end of the year. I want to read We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I want to reread the Dark Artifices series. I want to read Fangirl, specifically because it's set at college and I've been putting it off because I wanted to read it while I was actually at my college, like living there, which will be happening this year, so there's that. So I know I want to read that. The Red Queen trilogy series. There's probably more that I'm completely missing right now, but those are it for right now. And let's be honest, I want to be able to read all the books on my TBR. We'll see if that actually happens. It's not going to, but you know, let's be optimistic. But anyway, I'd love to talk to you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books? Did you like them? I would love to know. Also, have you done a mid-year book freakout tag? If you have, put it in the comments below, and I really want to watch them because I think they're really good, and it's a good way of finding new booktubers. There's that. So thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button and give this video a like. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!